name is Jason, and I'm truly passionate about data-driven philanthropy. Etymologically, philanthropy means love for humanity. Functionally, let me define this as donations of money or time to social good. So show of hands, who's given 20 bucks or more to a charity in the last year? Who's given an hour or two of your time to work at a soup kitchen or animal rescue organization and build a house? And who's written 20 lines of code or otherwise technologically supported some sort of social good organization? Well, for those of you whose hands nod up, let me give a call to action. The reality is that data, and more importantly, software, is eating the world, as Mark Andreessen famously said. But with the right talent and the right focus, I would argue that software can heal the world. But for that to happen, we need to focus on slavery and starvation and health and homicides, not making cabs faster or pictures prettier. I'm very lucky. I get the ability to work day in and day out on data-driven philanthropy. I have the pleasure of running the philanthropy team at Palantir Technologies, where we focus on in-kind donations of software and services to solve some of the world's hardest problems. So let me show you a couple examples of our software in action. The first I'll show you here is a donation that we made to a nonprofit group of journalists that were looking for organized crime stealing body parts from morgues in Eastern Europe and putting diseased body parts in individuals around the world. So starting with public Freedom of Information Act FDA data on imports, recalls, et cetera, fusing that with nonprofit reporting, business filings, et cetera, these groups built an entire network in Palantir of the human tissue trade. And this is ligaments for people with busted knees, this is burn victims getting skin grafts, et cetera. But it's a very profitable industry. And you have guys like Igor Alashenko that are, well, he's on the lam, but he had been stealing body parts from Ukrainian morgues, buying off local officials, repackaging it incorrectly without inspections, and moving it through to a publicly traded Florida company that's making hundreds of millions of dollars a year. As a result of exposing this network, it's now shut down. There's better tracking to ensure that diseased parts are not making it into otherwise healthy people. Now, switching gears completely, let's talk about food security. Another project that we're working on is with the Grameen Foundation, looking at reported data from rural farmers, in this case Uganda, and using that data through big data to find outbreaks of disease, pestilence, et cetera, and interdict before that becomes a pandemic. So we're talking about food security, the poorest farmers in the world is something that's incredibly important. And so basically through a internet the last mile Android phone app, looking at millions of surveys from a community knowledge worker of Grameen and the farmer, you can use this to find very clear patterns of disease outbreak or pestilence outbreak, in this case I'm looking at maggots, and come up with interdiction strategies. And so using this data, which was never intended for this purpose, the Grameen Foundation is working with the Ugandan Ministry of Health to be able to directly reach out to these farmers and stop outbreaks that challenge this food security. Okay, switching gears entirely, now I'm in rural Georgia. There's a tornado that came through earlier this month. One of our philanthropic clients is a group of veterans that respond to disasters. And with a simple Android app, we're able to survey in the day after a tornado everywhere where there was no damage, everywhere there was minor damage, and everywhere that there was major damage. So what? So they then took 2,500 volunteers from the community to task them with strong backs and chainsaws where help was needed most to get people back on their feet. So the reality is, in my opinion, software can heal the world. I would say with the collective skill sets of the people in the room, but more accurately, if the chairs were more full in the room, we really could work together to address these sorts of issues. If this is something that you're interested in, there's all sorts of kick-ass hackavists and organizations where you can do this as a weekend warrior or part-time. Highly recommend you check out some of these folks. Or if it's something you're interested in a full-time capacity, there exists all sorts of awesome opportunities with salaries, healthcare, and even stock options. You have nonprofit groups like Code for America, absolutely awesome, corporations like Palantir, as well as government organizations. Even the White House has an awesome program pulling in fellows, as well as other folk. And so I highly encourage you, consider being a philanthropy engineer. All right, thank you very much.